The morning rush at Denny's diner had just begun when Margaret, a 68-year-old waitress with tired eyes and a gentle smile, tied her faded apron and stepped onto the floor. She had worked here for nearly 30 years, serving thousands of strangers with patience and kindness. Her joints ached, but she hid the pain behind the same warm greeting she gave every customer. "Good morning, sweetheart. What can I get for you today?" Across the parking lot, a black SUV screeched into a spot. The door swung open and out stepped Chase Donovan, 17 years old, spoiled, wealthy, and known throughout town for his arrogance. His father owned half the real estate in the city, and Chase behaved like everyone was beneath him. Today, he strutted into the diner with headphones on, sunglasses still covering his eyes, and an expression that said the world owed him something. At the far corner of the diner, 4 bikers sat quietly eating breakfast. They were members of the Iron Wolves, a group feared by many but respected by those who actually knew them. Their leather jackets, tattoos, and heavy boots made them look intimidating, but they minded their own business. Unless someone crossed a line, Chase slammed himself into a booth and snapped his fingers loudly. Margaret hurried over, still smiling politely, though the sound made her flinch. "What do you want today, young man?" she asked. Chase didn't remove his sunglasses. "Finally," he muttered. "Took you long enough. I'll have a caramel latte, extra hot, not whatever cheap stuff you usually serve." Margaret nodded gently. "Sweetheart, we don't have lattes, but I can make a fresh hot coffee." Before she could finish, Chase scoffed loudly. "Are you serious? What kind of dinosaur place is this? No wonder only old people work here." The bikers looked up, their eyes narrowing. Margaret kept her calm. "I'll bring you the freshest coffee we have." But when she returned and set the cup down, Chase exploded. "This is gross," he yelled. Then in a shocking moment that made the entire diner freeze, he leaned forward and spit directly on Margaret's hand. She gasped, stepping back in disbelief, her hands trembling. The diners went silent. But the bikers? They slowly stood up from their table. Chase didn't know it yet, but he had just made the worst mistake of his life. The diner grew uncomfortably silent after the rich teen, Adrian, spat on the elderly waitress, Ms. Turner. She froze, her trembling hands clutching the coffee pot. At 72, her joints ached. Her eyesight was fading. But she never complained. She needed this job to survive. Adrian smirked, leaning back in his chair as if he had done something impressive. His expensive jacket, gold chain, and branded shoes screamed entitlement. He lifted his phone, laughing as he replayed the moment for his friends. "You're too slow. Old people shouldn't work here," he mocked loudly. A few customers gasped, but no one dared to intervene. Adrian's father was one of the wealthiest businessmen in the city, and everyone knew his temper. Ms. Turner blinked away tears, whispering, "I'm sorry, sir, it won't happen again." But across the diner, a group of bikers, leather jackets, heavy boots, and intimidating tattoos, watched the entire scene unfold. They weren't just any bikers. They were part of the Iron Shield Brotherhood, known for defending the vulnerable and respecting elders. Their leader, Bear, a tall man with a thick beard and a deep voice, slammed his coffee mug on the table. The sound echoed through the diner. Every head turned. "That's enough," Bear growled. Adrian scoffed. "Mind your own business, Grandpa in leather." The other bikers rose from their seats, forming a wall of muscle and authority. Their presence sucked the arrogance out of the room. Bear walked toward Ms. Turner first. He gently placed a hand on her shoulder. "Ma'am, you okay?" She nodded weakly, though her voice cracked. "It's fine, I'm used to it." Bear's jaw tightened. "Well, I'm not." He turned to Adrian, who suddenly felt much smaller than before. His bravado faltered. "You think spitting on an elderly woman makes you tough?" Bear said. "Let's teach you what real respect looks like." Adrian's friends quietly slipped out the back, abandoning him without hesitation. For the first time, panic flickered in Adrian's eyes. The entire diner watched breathless as the bikers prepared to confront the spoiled teen who had never been told no in his life. And in that moment, Adrian realized he had messed with the wrong people. Bear stepped closer until he was standing eye to eye with Adrian. "Clean it," he said calmly. "What?" Adrian stuttered. "Clean the floor, clean her shoes, and then apologize like you mean it." Adrian shook his head in disbelief. "Do you know who my father is?" Bear leaned in. "Do you know who raised us? Women like her. Mothers, grandmothers, people who worked harder than you'll ever understand. So pick it up. Adrian hesitated, but the glares from every biker made his knees weak. Finally, his shoulders slumped. He bent down, grabbed napkins, and shakily wiped the floor where he had spat. Her shoes too, another biker ordered. Adrian swallowed his pride and did as told. His hands trembled as he knelt before the elderly woman he had disrespected minutes earlier. Miss Turner wiped her eyes. You don't have to. No, ma'am, Bear interrupted gently. He really does. Adrian finally stood and whispered, I'm sorry. Louder, Bear demanded. I'm sorry, Adrian repeated, voice breaking. The bikers nodded approvingly, but Bear wasn't done. Now sit down and listen, you need to hear this. Adrian sat humiliated but attentive. Bear pulled up a chair. You think money makes you better? You think age makes someone worthless? This woman has served this diner for 40 years. She's probably worked more shifts than you've lived days. Ms. Turner looked down, embarrassed by the attention. Bear continued. You're young. You have time to fix who you're turning into. But if you keep walking this path, your money won't save you. The entire diner listened as Bear spoke, his words filling the room with unexpected wisdom. Adrian's arrogance slowly melted into reflection. No one had ever corrected him this way, not teachers, not friends, not even his father. When he finally walked out of the diner, he paused at the door and turned to Miss Turner. Ma'am, if it's okay, can I come back tomorrow and help you with your shift? She smiled softly, the first genuine smile of the day. I'd like that. The bikers watched him leave, satisfied, and from that day on, the spoiled rich teen was never the same. The lesson the bikers taught him stayed with him forever. Respect isn't given, it's earned, and kindness is the real measure of a man.